Contestant, first place winner is my little brother, Ryan Harris. Come on up, brother, Ryan.
Let me first say thank you, and I'm honored to be here today. But I stand before you not as one with great words, but as an oracle of God. This was not just a speech contest for me, but truly a declaration from the heart of God to His people. So it is with great humility and with great authority from the throne of God that I stand before you today, and I present to you the content of our character. 80 years ago stood a shattered people, a broken nation, a disoriented perspective birthed out of the apathy of hope deferred. Boldly there stood a people battered and bruised, emaciated and downtrodden, war-torn and brutally beaten by the whip of control, the chains of unexplainable bondage, the mentality of lack and defeat, the manifestations of mundane, beautiful illusions, objectives and incentives that only furthered and advanced enslavement to a system, rather than the liberation of the hearts and the souls and the minds of a people that so heavily carried the burden of strife and defeat. The mentality of hopelessness, the mentality of settling for just enough became a reality to those who fought the fight and became weary of the battle. Yet instead of pushing a few steps forward, they settled for the theme of just enough, rather than pulling for the theme of more than enough. The weight of that didactic decision has proven to be so boundless through the echoes of time, the pride of humanity, that today the same mentality that paralyzed those who chose to grasp it has trickled down to the famed crevices of our society and generation. It is the imprisonment of the mind, the captivity of one's will, the rejection of one's emotions that has created in us the abstracted view of who we are and who we have become. It is the mind that needs liberation, the thought conceived, which then becomes a thought in action, ultimately becomes an action produced, but the connotation in which it represents is fully dependent upon what starts in one's mind and what is then carried through one's will. It is contingent upon the seasons, the times, the periods in which we live to counteract the forces of evil, not to fight evil with evil, but with peace to create in us the notion to fight, the will and drive to improve our current circumstances and advance for the generation behind us. Over 50 decades ago, we were introduced to a man that not only informed us, but exposed us to the vital fight of what he called the urgency of now. The urgency to fight with great endurance and vision to eradicate the incompetent flow in which we as a people operated out of. Though death and defeat were ever present through this time of transition, there was a voice that arose to the occasion and went beyond the call of duty to see to it that a people were not held back, that a nation was not divided, and a principality of division and complacency could stand no more.
Yes, yes.
There was much death and much defeat, much injustice and much inequality. Yet out of the ashes of death, yet out of the ashes of brokenness, out of the ashes of defeat that loomed in mountainous ways, rose a voice. Rose a people that heard and declared the clarion call of their generation, a cry of freedom, a cry of equality, a cry of ossified faith and allegiance to not only one race, but to all who were enslaved to the injustice of our time. To stand up and declare that we are one people, none above, none beneath, but equal in stature, equal in rights, equal in every way of life. We have become so addicted to the powers and enslavement and the control of man, when in fact man cannot serve man and be enslaved and pledge allegiance to one another's figure without penalty, because we then erect ourselves as idols and serve an object of adoration rather than the true God of creation. Jehovah Sitting, Jesus the Christ. Dr. King was the voice of a revolution that sparked inevitable change, insurmountable expectancy, invincible motives that stood in the face of every adversary, posing itself as a threat and overcame by the consistency of the advancement of a vision.
Yes.
And seen in the waving and the lifting of the flag of freedom. Yet our fight, it does not stop there, because there is still a vast area of Dr. King's dream, Dr. King's vision that has through the years been so gruesomely overlooked, that is and forever will be marked and revealed as the content of our character. Yeah. Dr. King wrote in his famous I Have a Dream speech that I have a dream that one day my children will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. The content of their character. We have mastered to a degree not being judged by the color of our skin, but have missed being evaluated by the content of our character. And may I suggest to you that race has never been the problem, but we have missed the importance of examining one's character. So we speculate and we erect stereotypes based off of the color of people's skin, rather than the true content of their character, their moral and ethical quality. We would realize that the only person to blame and to fault for us not achieving and reaching true success in who we are and who we were created to be is us. We forget that it is our character that defines us. It is our character that makes us. It is our character that speaks volume about us when we as individuals don't know people are looking. It is our character, our inward revelation produced as an outward representation that defines who we are and who we become. Many want to ride on their talents and gifts, but may I remind you, as quickly as you got there is as quickly as you can leave. Because it will have been that you got where your talent could take you, but where your character could not keep you. We can ride on the coattails and the wings of yesterday's promises, all we want, but we will forever be faced with the day called today. We will forever be faced with the domineering demands of our society. So yes, let us look back to the past for inspiration. Let us look to the future with great expectation of a change that has to come through us. There is a clarion call of this generation to rise up in assertion and assurance of our identity. There is no one entitled to anything. We have fought the fight, we have run the race, yet we feel we are entitled to much more than what we have worked for. As if the world owes us something individually without any work or effort placed to the very thoughts and ideas we claim and are indebted to us. Directly rejecting and forsaking the blood, sweat, and tears of all that came before us to stand and build a common brotherhood in which we all live. This is the clarion call of this generation to build and develop character. It's quiet. We are so high in skill, so high in talent, but we're low in character. It is our character that will sustain us and show whether or not when the storm blows, if we will be strong and unwavering like the mighty oak tree, or if we will be like a withering leaf, dilapidated and decimated, withering away, folding under pressure as the wind and storms of life blow. We must see to it that all people are equal. All people have the same chances in life, that all people have the resources needed to become great, but let us be distinguished and evaluated in who we are by the character we uphold. Let the determination of who we are come from the way we carry ourselves. Let the world see that we are no longer placing the blame on an issue of old, but are making it our personal responsibilities to create solutions for the present, to propel us into the future. This is the time where the torch is being passed from one generation to the next, the baton from one to another, not to ride off the glory and achievements of those that came before us forever, but to continue in a spirit of excellence and honor that will do just service to all who have dedicated their lives to the cause and service of God and man. We must keep focused on the prize of the high calling, as the Apostle Paul said. We must run the race with great fervor and strike the very chords of this stain. We are a nation of greatness, a nation of leaders. Sadly, instead of standing our grounds and marking our territories and using our voice to roar like a lion, we have a bunch of pussycats running around trying to make a big sound. Yet of not going through the process of separation, consecration, and dedication to a cause that's higher than oneself. I'm done right here. So I admonish you today that there is no blame to be set on any one person, race or ethnic group. We are all guilty of boxing ourselves in. But today, leave here encouraged, challenged, and ready to take the personal responsibility for your actions and state of being. It is our duty to advance in every day called today our mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual states, allowing God our Father to be our God, allowing none other than Jesus Christ, none other than Jesus Christ, none other than Jesus Christ, to be the hands that we submit to and continually mold us into what He and the Father have created us to be. We must be faithful in the passing of the baton, because if we drop the baton, it will cost us the race.
That's right.
So I encourage you to no longer let your opinions, your perspectives, or worldly matters be concluded by the color of one's skin, or the stereotypes of their race, nor the height of their calling, but only and solely by the content of their character. Amen.